Can we get you a beverage?
I already got one. Whoop, I left it back at the... All right, here we go. All right. Shut up! I gotta do the intro. Welcome to Longmont. Welcome to the Longmont Criterium, where we've got the best race fans in Colorado. Woo! All right. Thanks, guys.
Steven, you're okay. We got 50 minutes of racing. It begins right here, right now. Let's get it on, monsters. In 3, 2, 1, Andiano! Setting off. This could be bananas.
Remember, kids, if you don't have trouble clipping in at the start of a crit, the guy in front of you will. But either way, don't panic. Hello, race fans. This is Garrick Mitchell with Bomb Squad Cycling, coming to you from the the Longmont Criterium in Longmont, Colorado. The umpteenth version. This race has been around for a long, long, long time. And I've done this since, I think the first time I did it was in 2014. And I realized on Strava, I think I've got over 300 racing laps on this course. As you'll recall from any of my prior videos, I love this course. Won here as a Masters 4 back in 2015 in my breakthrough year that got me up to the 3s, where I reached my level of mediocrity that I remain at today. But yeah, hey, let's do some crit racing. As I recall, last year, the race actually started out pretty slow. In fact, I was at the front of the race for 3 laps before it got going again, before it got going in earnest. That is not the case today, and we're drilling it right out of the gate. It's hot. It's low 90s. I need to add to my telemetry temperature, but I think the Wahoo is reading 89 to 91 degrees, which doesn't sound that hot, but it was hot enough. We started at 1:30. So there's lap 1. You've seen this course before. You see the map at the upper left. So I won't belabor that, except to once again praise the new pavement that we're coming onto right now. There are about three holes on the course. One was actually the approaching turn 1. It was kind of a seam that's opened up a bit. After we make the one and only left turn on the course, that straightaway has some cracks in it and a big pothole coming into the corner after that. So you saw the rider in front of me wiggle. He was avoiding that seam, kind of threw me to the outside a bit, but one trick about Criteriums is to figure out where the course hazards are, where the features are. Here's the pothole right on the inside just past. And the next hazard we'll see is on the long straightaway after this next right turn. There's actually a car that was left parked on the street. They haven't towed it yet. I don't know if they ever actually towed it, but they just, since it's kind of off the racing line, you'll see it on the right there. They just put up some cones around it. And you will see near the end of the race, the field slows down and gets wide, and the leaders go way over to the right, and it got a bit dicey. But the lesson there, kids, is do a pre-ride. Get some reconnaissance laps in when you can. Get to the race early in between prior categories. Be sure you get some laps in and pay attention to where those hazards are, because when you're in the middle of the peloton, you can't necessarily see it, or you're not going to have a lot of time. You don't want to be surprised by that kind of thing. And just in front of me in the Celeste green socks, my brother from another mother, Dan Berger. Dan, I told you I got you in the video, so there we go. And look at you go, man. Dan is being smart, moving up when he can, when it's slow. That's like free speed right there. Whereas I'm trying to get my tongue off the ground. I'm panting hard here because the pace was pretty good right out of the gate, like I said. But kudos to Dan. He did a great job today. seconds ago you heard the greatest fans in all of Colorado cycling. Folks have a party at this one house. They did last year too, and every single lap they were hooting and hollering and blowing horns, and it was a lot of fun. So thanks to those guys. Shout out to you all for being such badass, hardcore fans. Thanks for letting us come play in your neighborhood, because this is a fabulous course. Nice wide roads, beautiful area, nice trees. I love it here in Longmont. So that exchange, that was none other than Ben Sharp of the Stages team, who I can't quote his palmares offhand, but I'm sure we can look him up. A man with far more cycling talent than I will ever have, explaining that I was kind of riding off to the side for no apparent reason. I told him, I'm a professional tail gunner. And he says, yeah, you're ride alongside the peloton, or is what you are. So now, to be fair, on the long straightaway here, it was a southeasterly wind at this point. The wind is coming a bit from the left, but yeah, I was just riding next to the peloton. Not every time, but I needed to pay more attention to that. So thanks for the feedback. Every day's a school day. I'm certainly not going to pretend I don't have a whole lot to learn. But the flip side is I'm just out here having fun, being part of the show. So, but I want to do that skillfully and safely. So, thanks again, Ben. So as you've no doubt noted on my heart rate graph, the last couple laps have been pretty chill, and coming out onto the long straightaway, the field's not really in a big hurry, so why not? I'll move up to the front. And of course, when it's going slow, that's when someone's bound to attack. So I find myself right here at the front as, attack goes, the chase starts. It's like, well, crap, I'm here. I better go. But there goes David Kendall right in front of me, I think. Yeah, sorry, I'm looking at a low-res version of the video right now. But anyway, you notice this is about the highest my heart rate gets the entire race. And after we get through this next corner, I'm like, nope. So I get out of line and then try to gracefully get back in line, and it works out okay, but I need to get my head out of my butt and spend some more time closer to the front of the race, is really what it comes down to. So coming up here, you'll see the riders in front of me kind of slow down a bit. I get pushed a little bit inside. It's like, well, crap, now I'm here. But, you know, this feels good about, you know, we're not drilling it. So, you know, they did leave a bit of a lane on the inside of the corner, but just always be wary of, in the extreme, that's called dive bombing. I don't think that's what I did there, but, you know, follow the lines. So now the field's real wide again, which is always scary, and then there's attacks. But turns out the farther forward you are, you can absorb those a little bit better than sitting at the back, as I always do. I think one lesson I've learned today in going back and watching the footage is the times that I'm out to the side. I mean, I'm normally tail gunning because I'm weak and just want to be towed along by the field. When I'm off to the side, that's because, well, things are going a bit slower, and either I hit the brakes or I move out to the side. If I'm out there, really ought to be moving up. So, a lot of good that does me now that road season is over. Longmont is the last road event of the year here in Colorado. Yeah, I really need to focus more on, if I'm not desperately holding onto the wheel, I need to just be moving up. So there you go. I think I've I've learned something. Whether I can put it into practice, we'll see. But getting down, should be seeing 6 laps to go this time. Let's see what happens. remember how earlier I was saying you got to do a pre-ride, you got to see where the hazards are on the course. Remember that car on the right? Then, so that was interesting. Incredibly, I think only one rider went down, but now I am going to chase back on, although they'll leave me slightly gassed. But the moment I saw the rider start to go down, I decided I'm going left, and I looked to a point that I predicted was going to be at least a couple feet to the left of everything that could happen, and I was a little worried. The one rider locked up his rear wheel. In fact, as he rode by the downed rider's bike, he stood it back up, which was kind of interesting. But the trick is to look where you want to go. I mean, crashers are scary. The noise is terrible, but you just gotta keep looking forward. And as soon as you see things start to go sideways, you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to get around this? And then look there. All right, kind of keep your peripheral vision monitoring what's happening in case the blast radius gets larger. But I was, we all were fortunate, able to get around it. But don't look at the crash. Look where you want to go. Period. So I made it back on in large part because I just kept rolling through the corners since I was by myself. But you can see the laps are counting down. I'm going to get gapped on the last lap, finish just off the back of the peloton. Hey, that's okay. I am just thrilled to be part of the show. Just love being here. The thrill of the race, even if my finish absolutely sucks, is still there for me. So that's the end, or will be the end of the 2026 Colorado road season. Seems like just yesterday I was racing in Boulder-Roubaix, but time flies when you're having fun. So with that, I will sign out, enjoy the rest of the video, and go, I don't know, race some gravel or something. So peace out.